Hi everyone, I'm Terry Johnson and welcome to Terry's Tuesday Tips. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how you can create a custom t-shirt using specialty heat transfer vinyl. The heat transfer vinyl that I'm using is Siser metal and I just love it. But first, let me show you this cute little outfit that I made for my granddaughter Sawyer. Now, the reason that I selected this design is this is exactly what she is, and I've always called her Little Miss Sassy Pants. So when I saw this design in the Design Bundles Mega Craft Bundle, I knew it was something that I had to use. I'll put a link in the description box below if you're interested in this design. But when I saw the little gold foil star leggings at Target, then I knew I wanted to use the gold metal Siser heat transfer vinyl. It comes in a lot of different colors, so let me show you those. This is the gold that I used on this project. It also comes in silver, a very pretty bronze color. This is the bronze, and probably my favorite is the pink tiger lily. I've used this one before on a black shirt, and it was stunning. And actually, I believe, and I'll link it below, that Siser introduced a new color yesterday, but I'll let you know for sure. So, when we are working with the gold or any color of the metal heat transfer vinyl, it's a little different because you're not going to see a carrier sheet on this like you normally would on heat transfer vinyl. The colored side is the side that you're going to place down to your mat. The silver side is the back. So, usually with heat transfer vinyl, one side is shiny and one side has a matte finish. But with this metal heat transfer vinyl, both sides are shiny. So just remember that the carrier sheet, there is one, and you're going to see it in the video, but the carrier sheet is over the colored section of the vinyl. The back is the silver. So it's very important when you place it on your mat to cut that you put the colored side down. Now, that's a little trickier with the silver. You will notice with the silver, you may not be able to see it in the video, but the front is very shiny, like stainless steel. And the back is a little duller. It's not really easy to see in the video, but in real life, the front of the silver is much brighter and the back is dull. So just be sure that when you cut, you're going to be putting the pretty side, the colored or really bright side down, and the back is silver. Now, the other important thing to remember about this vinyl heat transfer is it is a cold peel. Now, what that means is, I know when you press your heat transfer vinyl, you're used to taking that cover sheet and just pulling it right off because we all want to see it right away. But with this vinyl, it's really important that you remove it from the press, place it away from the heat, and let it cool down. It really needs to cool maybe 2 minutes or something like that until it's completely cool. So don't be tempted to pick up that cover sheet and take it off before it's cool. Okay, so let's get started with creating this project. Now I'm going to open my design that I downloaded from Design Bundles. And in my downloads, you will see here, this is the Mega Craft Bundle. And I'll put the link to it down in the description box. And you can see there's a ton of different files here. But the one I'm looking for is the Sassy folder. And I'm going to come down and select Little Miss Sassy Pants. Now, for whatever reason, you're going to see that this design comes in ungrouped. I can select all with Command or Control A, Command A if you're on a Mac, and Control A if you're on a PC. And then I can group it together. Again, either using the keyboard shortcut, Command or Control G, or you can simply right-click and group. So now that it's all grouped together, and I do that because I don't want to lose any of the pieces as I'm moving things around and working with it. It's much larger than I want it to be, so I'm going to scale this down. Again, more than one way. You can drag the corner boxes, or you can come up here to the quick access toolbar, lock the aspect ratio, and I'm going to say I want this design to be about 7 inches tall, and that scales it down as well. A third way is to go over here to the transform window click on the scale icon, and you can scale in this panel as well. The great thing about Studio is there's usually more than one way to do something. Now we are cutting the Siser metal heat transfer vinyl, so that needs to be cut from the back. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and say flip horizontally. Now you could flip this in the send panel. However, when you do that, it ends up on the opposite side of the mat. And some people find that a little confusing, so I like to go ahead and flip it or mirror image it here in the design workspace. I'm cutting on my portrait today because it's a small design. I have the portrait machine selected, the portrait cutting mat, and a custom size piece of heat transfer vinyl. Although I don't think I'm going to have one quite that big. I think it's going to be about, let's say, 7 inches wide. So that's a little bit more accurate as to the size of it. So at this point, we would be ready to go to the send panel and send to the machine. Now in the send panel, you're going to see down here that my portrait is selected. If your portrait or your machine you're using is not selected, you need to look here for what silhouette devices. Now I have a lot of machines that are showing up here, and I could delete a bunch of these, but you want to find the one I'm connecting by a Bluetooth icon. So it says portrait with the Bluetooth, so it is ready. If I was trying to connect here with a USB, it's saying unavailable because I don't have a USB being used and I'm using the Bluetooth on my portrait. So now it recognizes that machine and it's all ready to go. My design shows the red cut lines around it. I have selected Heat Transfer Smooth. This is the suggested starting setting for the gold metal or any metal Siser heat transfer vinyl. Now, the suggested settings in the Silhouette Studio software are starting points. They may not be the best setting for your material and your machine. Now, I happen to know from testing that I want to take my blade depth up 1 notch. I'm cutting with the auto blade, so I am instructing the auto blade to go up from 1. Let me go back and show you. 2 is what the suggested default setting is, but I know I get a better cut if I cut at 3. So when I've got that adjusted, I'm ready to send. Now you're going to see when I click on send, the software says to me, do you want to send mirrored? Because it knows that I'm working with heat transfer vinyl, or do you want to send as is? This is a good reminder because if you didn't flip it, you can either mirror it here or go back to your design page and mirror it there. But then I'm going to be all ready to send, and I would click on send as is because I've already mirrored it. So here we have the heat transfer vinyl loaded face down, and the back side is silver. With the customized settings that I used for this material, you're going to see that we get a nice clean cut when it's time to go and weed it. Of course, I've speeded everything up to be a little more interesting, but you can see how easily this weeds. And once we're finished, we have a nice, clean, smooth cut ready to press. Now here we are at the heat press. This is my Craft Pro and I love it. I'll put a link for it in the description below. And I'm just using a little shirt I got from Target, $5, Cat and Jack. And so what we're going to do is pre-press this for just a few seconds to remove any moisture. I am set at a 305-degree temperature. Now I'm going to fold this in half and just do a finger press to make a crease down the middle of the shirt. This is my scientific way of lining the design up in the center of the shirt. I'm also going to take the piece of heat transfer vinyl and I'm going to fold it right sides together and do a little crease at the top. And actually, you also need a little crease at the bottom to make sure that your design is lined up and centered. So this is the beauty of the slide out drawer, is that I can pull this out from underneath the platen and not get burned. Now we are going to cover up the heat transfer vinyl with a Teflon press sheet slide the drawer back in, and through the magic of video, 15 seconds are going to quickly elapse. And now we're going to remove this, but we are not going to take off the cover because this is a cold peel heat transfer vinyl. So back here at my workstation, you can see how nicely this is pressed, and it's completely cooled down. You generally have to wait a couple of minutes. So once you're sure that it's completely cooled, you can begin to peel off the transfer sheet. Now, I usually do this pretty slowly, just in case there's any little hiccups that I want to address. And just like when we use regular adhesive vinyl, I tend to roll that transfer sheet back on itself as I'm peeling it off. But again, it's super important that you wait until this is completely cool. So now we've removed that cover sheet, that transfer sheet, with no problems whatsoever, and we have our perfect little Miss Sassy Pants design. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful, and that if you haven't tried it already, that you will try the Siser Metal HTV. It gives a beautiful effect, and you can really do so many great things with it. Like I said, I'll put a link below for the Mega Craft Bundles if you're interested in that, and I'm also going to include a link in the description box of where you can purchase the Siser Metal HTV. I'm going to recommend Expressions Vinyl as they have great prices, great customer service, and really fast shipping. I also wanted to mention, you may have noticed in the video today that I was cutting on my portrait. I love my little Portrait 3 because it is lightweight, easy to pull out and use. I usually keep it in my camper, but right now our camper is winterized. And Silhouette America has a Valentine's special on the Silhouette Portrait 3, so I will link for that below as well. Be sure to use my code Terry to get the savings at checkout if you're interested in that little portrait bundle. And as always, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications so you'll be sure to see all of the upcoming videos that I've got planned for you.